Hey everyone, welcome to Bookish Nook, and today I am doing a book/movie review of Rick Riordan's The Sea of Monsters, which is the second installment in the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. First of all, if you have not read The Sea of Monsters or The Lightning Thief, you should probably leave because this will be full of spoilers. So if you have read The Lightning Thief and you want a little synopsis of The Sea of Monsters, here it is. So the story continues following Percy, Annabeth, and Grover as they are thrust into a new situation involving the camp. The camp's magical force field is deteriorating, and they find out it's because the tree, which is Talia, is poisoned. So they decide to go out on a quest and find something that will heal the tree, which happens to be something called a golden fleece. They get into a whole bunch of shenanigans and mishaps and adventures. And this book was just as funny as the last and exciting and so much fun to read. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. So now for the more spoilery review. I really enjoyed the introduction of Tyson's character. I immediately understood his, I guess you could say, overall role in the book, and it's obviously not revealed until later for the kids who are supposed to be reading these books, his whole purpose. And that is to give Percy someone that he can talk to and feel loved, sort of. So I really enjoyed Tyson so much. He was one of my favorite characters in this book. There's just so much happening, and it's so exciting, and I love Clarice. I didn't really like her in the first one, but her character really comes through as, a strong, independent young woman who is just pretty much fighting for her spot in the world, so I really enjoyed her character as well. I also really enjoyed the train of ghost Confederates that Clarice had from a gift from her father, Ares. That was, I don't know what I was expecting, but that was definitely not it, and I really enjoyed that. And that's the one thing I really like about this series, is that it is so imaginative and creative, and the possibilities are endless. Rick Riordan does a really good job of incorporating, a childlike imagination into this series. As I said before, I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and you should definitely pick this series up or continue with it if you have not. So now on to the movie review of Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. On a side note, the first one was okay. I had a lot of problems with it. Mainly the aging up of the characters, but that should not be surprising seeing as they age up the characters all the time. Now, going into this one, I was used to the characters and came to love them by the end of the first movie. So there are a few things that I really loved about this movie, and the first one is the comedy in this movie. I laughed probably harder than I should have, but I really enjoyed the comedy, especially when they go see Hermes and he has those two snakes. That was really funny. So the comedy in this movie was endless. I also was wondering, since they aged up the characters, how they would change the prophecy, because that's a very important aspect of the books. And for some reason, it never occurred to me that they would just age up the prophecy as well, which they did, and they turned it to 20. I don't really see a problem with that, because I guess 16 isn't that significant. I haven't finished the series yet, but I guess I'll find out. So that was okay as well. I understand how they changed the introduction of Tyson, sort of just to save running time on the film. I enjoyed that change. There wasn't anything problematic with it. The introduction of Clarice, because she was not in the first one. I really enjoyed the actress who played Clarice. I can't remember her name, but I know that she played Glimmer in The Hunger Games. She was a nice, strong character, and you could just feel the tension and animosity between her and Percy, so I really enjoyed that as well. The changes to Clarice that they made, because in the book they describe her as a little bit pudgy, and she is paper thin in the movie. I don't really know how I feel about that. I kind of wish that they would have maybe chosen a different actress to stay more closer to the book, because the book really is supposed to make children feel included and normal. So I think that having a paper-thin actress isn't really normal. But overall, she did a fantastic job, and I'm really pleased with her character. and how she portrayed her. And it kind of seemed like Percy and Annabeth were like constantly hugging. So like after, you know, one little victory or something, they'd always be hugging, like let's hug it out all the time. So I thought that was really funny, and it contrasts the relationship in the movie to the book, because in the book they're really awkward and they don't really know what's going on because they are younger. So I thought that was a big change to their relationship. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I guess I don't really have a choice because they age up the characters, and there's obviously some sort of love interest between the two. And I really enjoyed Mr. D. I really like Stanley Tucci as an actor. He's hilarious. I loved him in Easy A and The Hunger Games, as well as Catching Fire. So I really enjoyed that. And he played the character fantastic, you know, funny, doesn't really care. And I really enjoyed that they incorporated the name changing of Percy whenever Mr. D goes to talk to Percy. So I'm glad that they incorporated that as well, because that's a really funny part of his character. Now, there are two things about the movie that I did not like at all, and the first was the ending. And I don't understand why movie screenwriters or the executive producer, whoever makes this choice, is to change the ending of the book in the adaptation of the movie. Now, in the ending of The Sea of Monsters, if you've read it, if you haven't, this is about to be a spoiler, is that they recover the fleece and they leave, and that's it. And it's pretty much the end of the story, and Talia wakes up. In the movie, Kronos, or Kronos, I don't know how to pronounce it, rises into this weird, I don't know, like decaying but not really, and he would walk and then his feet would materialize and dematerialize, and he rises and then they have to defeat him, and I really do not like that at all, because, you know, usually when a evil villain rises, that is it. They are risen and they are here to stay unless you get rid of him. Obviously, it's not going to be easy. And I don't like that they included him rising. And I think I understand that change is because they sort of need some sort of action sequence at the end. But I hate when they change the endings like that. They changed the ending of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, and that bugged me beyond belief, because the conversation between Harry and Lord Voldemort about Snape and everything else really just hits home about how alone Voldemort is and etc. But this is not a video about Harry Potter, so we'll push that aside. Also, what I didn't like was the incorporation of Cece's Island in the Cyclops Island, because in the book there are two different places that they visit, and they sort of incorporated Cece's Island by just saying, oh look, Cece made a amusement park here and it failed because there's a Cyclops living here. I figured, like, why not just keep that out completely, because I understand that's a very unnecessary side plot in the book when you're looking at a movie standpoint. So I didn't like how they incorporated that at all, and also when they didn't really demonstrate the fleece's capability until the end when it revived Talia. And I think that they should have, like in the book, when they're flying away from the island and taking the fleece, you can see the island deteriorating to what it was before the fleece was there. And I think that was a really important distinction for the reader, and I guess the movie viewer, of the powers that the fleece has. Because when they put it on the tree and Talia's there, it's kind of like, whoa, that's I wasn't expecting that. I figured it would just heal the tree, right? So I didn't like that either. Just the ending really bugged me. Overall, I gave this movie a 4 out of 5 stars because I did really enjoy almost every aspect of it except the ending. Now, if you are a die-hard fan of the Percy Jackson series and The Sea of Monsters was your favorite of the series, you may not be as happy with the movie as the rest of us are. The movie did have its faults, but it did have a lot of good things in the movie that any person who enjoys the series will agree with and be happy with. So that is my review of both the movie and the book, The Sea of Monsters. If you've read and seen both, comment down below what you thought. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Alright, bye!